Hi, Professor. How are you? Hello, Professor. Hi. Hello. Hello.
Okay, just
Hello.
checking to see if everything
Hello.
is working here. Let me get my audio levels. There we go.
Hello. Hello.
All right, let's see who can hear me.
Hello.
Just doing an audio check right now for uh, Maria Stiles. Hi, can you just confirm that you can hear me? Just jump on your microphone. Hi, Ajoy. Good to see
Hello.
you again. Uh, Maria, go
I can
ahead.
hear you.
Yeah, I think we're still having some speaker issues today. I know, it's one thing, but Maria, can you just confirm in the live chat that you can hear me? And I'm just going to try doing a bit of troubleshooting. Oh, here we go. I think I've got it. Okay. Um, Maria, can you speak again on your
Hello.
microphone? I
Hello.
think I may have fixed this. Go ahead.
Hello.
Hello.
Let's see. No. Okay. Hi, Huda. Actually, sure. Um, Huda, it's Lon Appleby in the Global Classroom. I'm just doing a technical check. Can you hear me? Can you just please confirm?
Yeah, we can hear you.
You're on your, yeah, something with the speakers today here, that there's an issue. I'll try it here again. Um, Huda, can you speak again for 10 seconds? If not, I'll try. Yeah, it's
Yeah, we
something in
can
the
hear
room here
you.
today. Can you just put in the live chat that you can hear me clearly, and then we can get started? Yeah, great. Okay. So, yeah, your mic's on. I know it's the problem is, yeah, thanks, Ajoy. I know it's a problem in the classroom today for some reason. I don't have technical
Hello.
support at all. I tried
Hello.
to get them this morning, but failed for that. So it's okay. I'm running it myself. I can troubleshoot. It just means that those who are trying to speak online will not be heard. They just have to come through the live chat only. Uh,
Yes,
and
Professor.
hi, everybody. We're going to get
Hi,
started.
Professor.
Um, and
Hello, Professor.
uh, let me just close the doors. Okay. Uh, so there we go. Oh, my batteries, and we're out of batteries. So we may, oh God, just a second. Let me just shut my microphone off. So, okay, we'll see how this goes. But I'll monitor that. It's just so many moving parts in a global class. So let's just see. I've got this up here. That's good for now. We're good on YouTube. Um, we don't have stuff going on over there. I can fix that a little bit later, but we've got this going. So, hi, Tessa, how you doing? Good. Grayson's here, Carol's here, uh, Prerna's here, and Brandon and Jalen. It's great. Here comes Nico. Can you do me a favor, all of you who are around there? You see, we're live on YouTube. We're back up on YouTube, which is great. You see how it's empty there? So the students who are online, and particularly the students watching the recording, they won't see you. Would it be possible to come sit in the couches, or at least in the first row of tables, of desks? That way, when we have interaction, all the students will be able to see you, and that will help with creating a sense of community. Okay, so just move up. You see, just fill in. You see, that's where we are live streaming on YouTube now. Just fill in the seats there as best you can, and that way the students. Excellent. Thank you very much. That way we create this sense of an academic community, which is what we've been trying to do with the the global classroom, and I think we're good for now. I can actually start the class, and I will leave that up there for now. And actually, you know what I'll do? Just let me just tee up something from DC Connect for our Humanities Destiny. Great. So there's some reflections that have been written, and that's good. So that's great. So you can see what people are seeing on the live stream, because what they see on the live stream is what they see on the recording. I use YouTube Premium to capture really high def 1080p recordings. That's high resolution. But to do that, I need to live stream, which is fine, because now I think we have something that's really cool. We're basically, as you're used to this by now, we have a class for everybody, which is you can come in person, which is ideal. You can be joining online synchronously through Toria, the video conference. You can be watching the
Hello,
live
Professor.
stream on YouTube, so you could
How
come
are
in from
you?
anywhere in the world if you wanted to. We had that actually in the morning class today. And you can also be watching the recordings. So the class is always open for you in any way you like. But really, in order for it to work this way, when people come in online or watching recordings, it's important that they see people here, because then they get a feeling that they're your classmates. And that's why I ask you to move in, so that way everybody who's watching will see this, right? And I'll just, and then this way we create this sort of, see? So this is what goes out to the world, to the online community. And by having you present like this, it really creates, I think, I hope, the feeling of a community, of a class that you're joining, even though you're not. I mean, you are, but you're not, if you know what I mean, okay? And that's I hope, the magic in this class that will gradually begin to gain some momentum around the world, is that we've created the first multimedia class for the 21st century. Like, nobody's doing this. Not like this. And you're all part of this. We're all part of this. We're building this. So, eventually we'll be able to get cameras in much better positions, so we can come in for close-ups of students and get a real sense of, it's me, the TV producer, thinking now, but anyway, so that's great. Okay, so it's working, and I'll just bring this back. So I'll just keep this up here, and this will be our dashboard over there. And so we see the planet live, we see the class live, and we see civilization, which is the map of the world. So that's kind of the idea. When you orient yourself to that panel, you're seeing, most importantly, human civilization, which is the map of the world, all of the people on this planet in all of those different countries. But you're also seeing a live view from the International Space Station orbiting, come on in, the planet. And right now it's over the South Pacific. You can orient yourself to the South Pacific, which is on the map, of course. And my battery's dying here. Okay, just a second. There's so many without the tech support today, but let me just do a quick battery change on my microphone, and then I'm gonna steal batteries out of here. This is called workarounds, and I'm working around so much my head is getting dizzy. Okay, so here goes workaround number 1 today. Steal batteries out of handheld microphone to put into microphone for instructor, for a professor. Okay, so that means this microphone is a dead microphone, but we're not going to throw it in the garbage. We're just going to put it over here for now. Okay, then for a quick workaround, for the online students, you're not going to hear me for a moment. I'm changing my battery Here we go. Good. Okay. Come bars. Yeah. Full power. Okay. So let's just do a quick double check to make sure you can hear me. Okay. So Ajoy, can you hear me now? I just put in a fresh set of batteries. Ajoy's wonderful um, um, partner in the global class. He's in Bangladesh right now, Dhaka, Bangladesh. Okay, hold on, microphone, audio settings. You should be able to hear me. Huda, can you hear me? Can you just confirm in the live chat? Great. Okay, so we're good. I just did a quick stick handle, and I've got my microphones in. I did a workaround, and we can get this off the ground. This class. Today is the next big thing. And what is the next big thing, essentially? But often it's all about technology. But we will see. So you've just seen me kind of manipulate technology quickly, and nothing fell apart. So I feel really technically savvy, or we call it digitally competent. And that's good. That's 14 years of experience or so in here. All right, so let's get Humanity's Destiny going today. And as I said, what we're going to do today is really look at this idea of what is the next big thing coming. We need a definition of that. We need to understand essentially the idea that something is on the horizon right now. In fact, it may be right in front of our eyes. And that thing is going to become as big as the iPhone was, or the pandemic was, or artificial intelligence seems to be becoming, which is it's going to be something that changes everything. Although that's probably a bit of hype in there. It's going to change a lot in our lives, and we're all going to be changed essentially at the same time in the way that the pandemic was, because that's how our thing called human civilization works today on planet Earth. That's what we do in this classroom is we think planet wide. And that's a kind of new way of thinking. So that's what I want to drill down with you on today through interaction, through the notes that we take. And we're going to try to understand by the end of the class what you think is the next big thing that's coming. It's going to be a game-changing development for a lot of us on this planet. Where might it come from exactly? And how will it change us? And what will we do? So that's definitely the main force that we're going to look at today. This idea that there's a force in our story, and that is called change. And change is coming, and we need to understand where it's coming from. Okay, does that make sense? That's the next big thing. But what I want to do before we do that is review, as always, a little bit to get you back into the right frame of mind for this class, and also talk about the next reflection, about the first reflection that everybody got done. And it was great reading them, and there's lots of good ones. And also to throw things open to any of you, if you have any questions, anything you'd like to bring up at this point, when we're now in the 5th week of 7 weeks this semester. So we're coming towards, slowly but surely, we're coming towards reading week, which is, I think it begins Monday, October the 23rd, I think is reading week. Okay, so that there will be, of course, no class. So I need to get you ready for two things, which is the second reflection, which is going to be based on today's class. And then, come on in, Parsa, right? Come on in. Yeah, great. And then the first assignment, which is going to be posted shortly, the assignment sheet for that. And that will be due in a couple of weeks, just before reading week. So there's things I need to get you set up for and make sure we review and understand the content and where we're going. And then we'll jump into the next big thing. And then, by the end of today's class, as I said, we will have a good idea of what we think that is. And then you're going to be reflecting on this in 325 to 350 words on this idea of the next big thing. So essentially, in the remaining part of the semester, as we move forwards into the next classes and beyond reading week, we're really going to be looking a lot at the sort of wider future, what we think is coming. We're going to be looking at space exploration. We're going to be looking at the future of freedom and democracy and science and religion. But we won't be looking at history that much, but it will always be there in the background. We're really going to be expanding our horizons. And in the second part of the semester, there's going to be a lot on Mars. For any of you who are interested in what we are doing or about to do on Mars and the early space colonies that humans are starting to think about, we're going to be covering that in the second part of the semester. The latest news from NASA is they're literally starting to plan houses or homes or some kind of habitation on the moon for humans to reside in. Are you ready for that? Any of you want to go there? Raise a hand if you're given the chance right now to leave planet Earth and go live on the moon or even further into the solar system. How many of you would like to do that? Raise a hand. Sort of? Not really? Tessa, no way? No? Okay. Let's go take a look and see what's happening online before we start moving along here. Online, folks, in the Toria Cosmos, Planet Maria, Planet Huda, Bani, and Aniket. Let's see, anybody else? Raise a hand, a digital hand, if any of you would be interested in going and living on the moon for a while or even further into the solar system. Anybody? Well, I am about to write on the board here an amazing fact. In fact, Parsa, you were writing last week, right? Were you writing on the board last week? Okay. Could you go over to the board and write, change the slide and write down this stunning fact? Here comes a stunning fact. But it may have to do with the fact that it's 1:30 in the afternoon on a sunny day and people are not quite really, in the frame of mind to come in. Oh, go put see this part right here? Just put your finger on that and bring it over. Exactly. Parsa, could you write down, please, in the biggest letters you can, just for the fun of it, no one in this class would like to visit the moon. Now, beautiful. Thank you. That's exactly it. So, by way of trying to get your attention, that's all I'm doing right now. We'll get on with the class shortly. Can I just confirm that this is true? No one in this class would like to visit the moon? And could you just, to make sure we have some reality here, just write 1:29 p.m. I think time has something to do with it, and it's that, we're heading into the afternoon doldrums. Okay. So there you have it for all of you online, for all of you watching the recording, and for all of you in person. This has now been confirmed. I've just asked for a confirmation that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Do you include yourself among? No, 12. So Parsa is the lone, moon warrior here. 12, and then there's Maria 13, Huda 14, Bani 15, Aniket 16. 16 people do not want to visit the moon. Parsa, could you just write underneath that in small letters, but I do? And then just put your name. Oh, you don't too. Oh, you don't too. So that's 17. And what about Lon? Well, for the sake of being a contrarian and for just kind of getting you even more engaged, I'm going to say, of course I do. I want to go immediately, even if I have to spend a few hours alone in a spacecraft with Elon Musk. I would do it, but I would, boy. Elon Musk, brilliant, but I mean, I don't want to hear another thing out of his mouth. Yes. Good question, Prerna. The truth is, yes. Just please don't put me with Elon Musk in the same cabin with him. It would be sheer, it would be a cage fight. I don't know where, I couldn't stand it. I could not stand being, but I think he's brilliant. I just think he talks too much. And he says too many stupid things. But he has huge influence. Anyways, okay, so we'll come back to that at the end of the class to see if you still feel that way today after the next big thing, because, moon travel and space travel could become one of those next big things. If Elon Musk has his way, in your lifetime, you will be able to afford it. That's what he's trying to do. Commercialize space travel so you can afford it. All right. So, is there anything anybody would like to say before we do a little review and talk about the first reflection and the first assignment? Everybody good? Parsa, thank you. Can you hang around the notes and keep taking some notes for us? That's nice. No one in this class wants to visit the moon. 1:29 p.m. We have another note to put there at probably 2:40 p.m. to see what happens. Okay. All right. The reflections are all marked, but there may be some that aren't. So I just want to let people know right now what's going on. All of you should have received a grade now. You will have seen. Were you able to access it? Okay. Grayson, could you access yours? Okay. Parsa, were you able to access yours? Okay. So Tessa, good? Yep. I haven't had time to tee up one or two that I'd like to read out loud. I can do that next week. That's what I normally like to do, is I like to read out loud some of them that are really well written. But in general, they were. However, I just want to let people know, and I'm not going to mention any names right now. I'll be dealing with this privately. It is possible for the students watching the recordings, the online synchronous students, the whole class right now, there's about 50 or so, 54 in this class. So I'm speaking to all of you right now. You may receive some sort of note from me or just a 0. And the reason is I'm smelling ChatGPT. I'm smelling AI. I'm thinking that this assignment was not written by you at all. It doesn't sound like it. But I'm open. It's not a full official mark. You need to contact me to let me know what happened so that I can make sure that it was or it wasn't written by a human. Because if it was not written by a human, meaning you, the 0 will stand. But if it was written by a human and you are the human who wrote it, then the mark is going to come up. And I'd like to let you know about where I'm getting this idea of this approach this semester. This is all new to me and to many of my colleagues in how we deal with ChatGPT this semester. One of my colleagues said to me, this is what he is doing this semester, just to be clear. He has been giving a lot of zeros out to students with this explanation that if it's not written by a machine, to make sure that these students contact him. He told me, quoting him, I'm not going to mention who he is, he said, not a single student has contacted him. In other words, he said to them, if you did not write this, sorry, if you want to discuss this, 0, because I'm smelling AI here, and you can show me that it was written by you, you will get the full mark. Just contact me. Not a single student has contacted him yet. So I'm going to try that with this class as well, okay? Don't assume that any of you are part of this, but if any of you happen to receive this 0, who are in person right now or online synchronously or whatever, just wait. You will have a chance to speak with me and show me. But I'm afraid that we got a bit of a battle going on this semester between the humans and the non-humans. You know, who's writing these things, machines or people? Brandon. Take a mic. Okay, because good question. Okay, this is a really good question, and let's have this discussion. It's so important that we. This is the first time in education for all the educators here that we have been faced with this dilemma. We're going to be having a conference here in a couple of weeks on how to deal with AI in the classroom. I'm open to using AI, as you know. We've talked about this. However, we need some boundaries. So, Brandon, you asked the question. Go ahead.
I was saying, what certain way do you want us to prove that it's ours? Because, like, for example, I usually write stuff in docs,
Yes.
and usually you can just go view the history, and it shows you like every hour or every time you leave the page, you can see it like slowly adapting, which will probably be reasonable expectation, not showing that it's been like some areas have been cut down and then move up, and some words been switched around. Probably proves I've been editing or
Okay, fair
trying
enough.
to say. But working on Word, I don't do that. It doesn't really do that. So
Yeah.
I don't know what kind of evidence that professor or you would want.
Well, I'm prepared right now, if you would like, to help you, because I think this is so important to put one of your reflections up there on the screen. A reflection, maybe it's yours, Brandon, or somebody who, you know, clearly was not writing by a machine, and talk about why I smelled that this was real, that it was fine. Is it okay? I can put yours up, or do you feel you don't have to?
You
Okay.
can put mine up. I haven't gotten the grade yet, so it's kind of.
Then
Yeah.
it may not be this 0. It may be something else, Brandon.
Yeah, I was just curious because since I was like,
Okay,
since I'm really bad at writing, so like I'll be like, it definitely won't detect me because it'll just be like, oh no, it's not AI, he's just bad at writing.
Okay, let's because I don't want to in any way make a student uncomfortable here. This is sensitive stuff. This can touch a raw nerve. I'm putting student work up there that we're going to break down a little bit. Why don't I say, Brandon, for the sake of it, we'll put Prerna's up, okay? Because Prerna spoke and then she talked about, and I could put probably anybody's here. Nico's I could. Tessa's, Parsa, I think. But let's just to be safe, okay? You know, I'm going to put this up to give you an idea of what makes me think this is absolutely real. I'm not using even a Turnitin at this point. It's so early. We don't even have a program yet to use. So, or we have a program. I just haven't had time to get on it. Okay, so let's go down and see. These are all the reflections that have come in. There's Jalen's was good too. Jalen, do you mind if I put yours up? You okay? Yeah, okay. Just because it's, I don't know, yours is maybe at the bottom, Bernie. You may have come in early, okay? So I'm just going to stop here. Now, I'm going to read this reflection out loud, and then I'm going to tell you why this reflection received, and I think it received a 5 out of 5. Should have received a 5 out of 5. I'm pretty sure. Okay. Yes. Okay. There may be something else. Okay. So just what I just said about the 0 being a reflection or no mark being a reflection of I'm smelling ChatGPT, it may be something else at this point. Okay. So just everything's moving so fast right now, but I want to make sure you get feedback. That's the critical thing at this point in the class, is that I'm going to be giving you feedback for what you write this semester this way in class. It's faster. I have 202 students, so I can't give everybody individual feedback. So this is the feedback part. So Jalen, thank you for allowing us to put this up, okay? So I'm going to play out me marking, okay? So you kind of know what I was doing. I open up the discussion thread. Every day since they start to come in, I check in on the discussion threads and the reflections, and I mark a few more every day to try and make sure that I've got everything marked up properly and in a timely way. So I open this up and I see, oh, Jalen's posted now. Great. And I read. When I write this reflection, I think of the feeling I had when I first entered the global classroom in week 1. I did not really know what to expect, since I had a very vague understanding of what this course was about. And I thought the classroom was really cool with the camera of the class. Well, now within a few sentences, I'm getting a feeling that that student's talking about this class. Like that student was here because he's referring to the things that we were doing. So I'm kind of in now going, good. I'm not dealing with a machine here. I'm dealing with the Jalen. Okay. I went in with an open mind and was ready to learn. I start to think, that Jalen, I remember him in that class. He participated in the class. He shared something in the class. I think he's writing the truth when he said he came with an open mind, because I saw him doing it right in the class. Is that making sense? You see how I'm thinking? What stood out to me most during our 3 classes was discussing the AI platform called ChatGPT. Pretty well everybody said this, which is great. You were all reflecting on this. I was unfamiliar with it at the start of our course since I'd never used it. The only AI I had used was the social media platform, Snapchat's artificial intelligence bot that you could type and ask questions to. Okay, here's the other thing that makes me think he wrote it. He has a comma splice. He's using a comma like a period. If you were getting something, if the machine were writing it, it would probably be pretty perfect. Too perfect. So now I'm starting to feel, okay, this is really Jalen writing, and he's telling me about exactly what was important to him in the first 3 classes. And I finish it up, and he says, another topic that stood out to me in the Humanities Destiny course was when we were talking about optimists and pessimists. Well, did that come from OpenAI? No, we did talk about that. And now, that's the kind of thing that I'm doing with 202 students this semester in Short History of the World, in my Global Leader class, and in Humanities Destiny. I'm literally in the first couple of paragraphs going, Am I smelling a machine here or am I smelling the student? I'm doing and what you need to know. I don't know if this answers your question, Brandon. Does it? Do you want? Keep asking. Make sure, because I guarantee you, I know for certain. It's just me with so much experience as a teacher. I know for certain that a lot of you are not listening right now. Okay? I know that. And that's fair. Doesn't matter how good you are as a professor. It's been shown that a student only retains about 25 to 30% of what was discussed in the class. So I can't. For the students online synchronously now, I don't know where you are, but I know you're kind of there. For those who are watching the recordings, my point is, as much as I say this, there are some of you who are going to still come to a deadline for the first assignment and the second assignment, which are both worth 50% of your mark combined. And you're going to be panicking because you're trying to finish it at the last minute. And what you will do is you will try to cut and paste something real fast and just get a pass. It's going to happen. Please don't do that if you think ahead. But so all I can say is, if there's anything you want to talk to me about in terms of making sure that you get a reflection done on time, an assignment done on time, if there's anything you don't understand, let's talk about it in class. And I'm so glad that Brandon has brought it up, and then we can make sure that we can answer these questions. So that's my long way of saying to you, Brandon, ask me anything else and make sure that this is covered. You mentioned something else that you, okay. Brandon, are you there? Okay. Yeah. Is there anything else? You sure? Okay. Anything anybody would like to ask? I will revisit this every class at the beginning, the feedback part. Prerna, please. Yes. I wouldn't have marked down for the word count at this point, okay? Later it will. Yes, for the assignments it will. Mm. Okay, well, let's take a look at Prerna's for a second, okay? Because I'm gonna, there's a teachable moment in this, Prerna, okay? Let's go down. Here's Prerna. Okay, so Prerna came in at 434 words. So that's about 100 words over. Definitely, I would not have marked you down. So you would have received a 5 out of 5 for this. My answer to you is going to be no. And here's the reason, okay? It's easy to write a lot. It's hard to write a little. Less is more. I know that if a student asks that question, it makes me think, that's excellent. The student has a lot to say. That's good. That's good. But then here's the educator in me that wants to make sure the student learns. The hard thinking, the real critical thinking, is when you have to make choices of what to cut. And anybody who writes well will tell you the hardest part is what to leave out. Because in the leaving out, you have to choose. And that can take some time. I'm not suggesting that you wrote this on the back of a napkin while you were waiting at the cafeteria for something. I get a pretty good sense that you're serious, Prerna, and I could see from this. But I know that if you have to really get it into that word count, it means that you've been really trying to think hard about what is the critical, non-negotiable thing that I want to say here? And that takes critical thinking. So I'm sorry, but the answer is no. Okay. But just for fun, I'm going to read Prerna's out a little bit, okay? Because it was well done. As I write this reflection, I realize how much this course has made me think merely with 3 classes. Starting from week 1, to be completely honest, I was very skeptical, as it didn't seem like this course would align with my interests. And the other half was that I was unaware of what to expect from this class. Here we go again. As I'm reading this, I'm breathing a sigh of relief. This is Prerna talking now. Good. However, when I entered the global classroom for the first lecture, I started to become curious about why I was sitting in such a high-tech class for a subject that didn't seem relevant to technology. The lecture started with a brief introduction and an activity where I got to share and get to know everyone's view about AI, a very relevant topic in our fast-moving lives. I realized that this course is not just about grades, but it will make me think of things and ideas that are bigger than me in my life, but affect the way the things happen in my life. Well, then my eyes are starting to well with tears. 2 in the morning, 2:30 in the morning. I probably should be going to bed and, saying hello and giving my wife a kiss and getting some sleep. But I've got all these things to mark and I'm feeling really good because this student has just said something that I had actually said right in the first class, which is, I'm hoping that this will come to mean more to you than just grades. So then okay. So just really try and remember that in this class, when I give out these reflections and assignments to do, there's a reason why there are no quizzes or tests in this course. Because you're not really going to learn how to think deeply by doing those kinds of things. I'm asking you to engage with the course material and process it through your own mind, and then express that with the written word or later with another medium. Maybe it's a video that you make, but it's really important that you process that and speak. And so please try and come to me if you have any questions or concerns. And Brandon, thank you again for having the courage to ask that. Most students wouldn't, and it's the only way we're going to be able to learn in this class. So anything you want to talk about before we get to the main event here? No? Okay. So let's go over here, take a look and see. Turnitin. Yep. Thanks, Huda. Turnitin shows if you use AI, but Turnitin is now saying, don't trust our AI detection lately. That's what we've been learning from Turnitin as educators. That Turnitin is saying, do not grade a student's work based on what we say in our AI detection because it may not be accurate enough. So as an educator, I do use Turnitin for assignments, but now when I take your assignments, not your reflections, your assignments, and I use Turnitin, I will have to also remember that Turnitin is advising us not to trust their AI detection yet. It's not good enough yet. That if the educator detects AI, speak to the student first. Do not grade that student's work yet. So Huda, it's not as great as we thought it might be. But anyways, let's come back and I'll leave it there for now and let's move on unless you have any questions or anything. All right. Could you please, Parsa, write down just at the top the next big thing? And I'm going to bring the blinds down a little bit so everybody can see Parsa when I come over to him. Because you'll see when I try this. Parsa, watch, he's going to start to become more illuminated as the blind comes down because the light will go away and we will be able to see Parsa's face a little bit better. And there's our scribe, our note taker. Good. On Toria, unfortunately, the smartboard is backwards. I can't fix that, but on YouTube, it's forwards. So in the end, it's what matters on YouTube because that's where the recording is. And for those of you at home synchronously now, Aniket and Bani, we will try and explain if you have any questions about backwards writing, okay? So the next big thing. All right, we're going to start, and we're going to do this together as a class, as opposed to in teams or in pairs. We'll do it just like a big think tank. And we have, who has the microphone? Make sure, Parsa, you have your own mic in case you want to, actually, no, I'm going to leave that here for now. Where's the other microphone? Good. Oh, hold on to it, Jalen. Okay, we'll keep the, so, let's first try and understand something. That's our first PowerPoint slide, the next big thing. I'd like to ask all of you, based on a definition of the next big thing being a game-changing development in any area of life that is going to change our ordinary lives all over the world, more or less at the same time. This is the phenomenon that we live in together in the 21st century, in the third millennium, that when something happens that's significant, it happens to everybody in different degrees, just like the pandemic. So let's throw this open and start to first understand. Based on that very introductory definition of the next big thing, and based a little bit on what we've covered so far in the first 3 classes about history's lessons, about thinking about the future, Paul Sappho's 6 rules for effective forecasting, the video I showed you from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, Free the Mind, Joe Rogan's sensory deprivation tank, the importance of imagination, all these things. I'm going to go around the class and I'm going to ask everybody, okay, what you think the next big thing is going to be and when is it going to happen? And Parsa will put this down, okay? And Parsa, feel free to add anything you like as we go, okay? And we'll start with Tessa, okay? And then we'll go back here and we'll go around and Tessa was a good starting point for our discussion a couple of weeks ago, I thought. So you're becoming the default for, you're the match that lights the class up. Let's get you the microphone, okay? And then, so it doesn't have to be a perfect thought, Tessa. It's the idea that we're thinking together about this idea. And then we're going to choose at the end of the class where we think. And I'll teach you some things about what we know around the next big thing through your answers. So what do you think? What's coming?
I don't really know. I mean, like growing up with all what we've gone through, it's like whenever something big happens, it's something that we never would have expected, like the pandemic or I was very little when it happened, but the whole thing with the market in 2007 or 2008, it's stuff that people
That's right.
didn't really expect to happen.
That's the economy,
Mhm.
global economy. Call that the global economy. Sure.
Yeah. I feel something with the economy might happen again because of the
Down global
interest
economy.
rates and everything. Yeah, I feel
Fair
like
enough.
something will
Something's going to happen with
crash.
the global economy. Fair enough. Okay. We're just going to brainstorm a little bit, but we want to get a bunch of ideas about where we think it might be and more specifically what it might be. Okay. We'll continue. Can you hand the microphone to the person behind you? And please give your name just as you speak, and then this will start to work. Go ahead.
My name is Mubarak.
Mubarak, please go ahead.
The next big thing. I'm not really sure what the next big thing is. I just say AI.
Where do you? Something's coming. The pandemic was a big thing. There is a lot of focus now on space exploration becoming cheaper and cheaper, and that may become a big thing
Mm.
when we reach a point where many people can afford to go into space, but that hasn't happened yet. It wasn't that long ago that we did not have computing power the way that we do now in our hands, but we started to, and that was a big thing when we were able to give people so much computing power in their hands. Think for a moment of something's coming, because this is what happens in our world today. There's so much invention going on, so much discovery in science. Just this week, the Nobel Prize in Science was given out to scientists who are understanding the behavior of electrons, subatomic particles that are in your computers. That's modern electronics. We live in a time of immense invention and discovery, Mubarak, and a lot of conflict in the world too. So maybe could it be something just in Oshawa that's going to become a big thing?
I'm actually stuck.
You're not sure yet? Okay, fair enough. Just put question mark, okay? That's all. Can you hand the microphone to the student behind you and go ahead, okay? And give your name as well.
My name is Shivani.
Shivana? Great, Shivana. What do you think in terms of some sort of big development that's there, it's coming?
About global economy.
Global economy?
Yeah.
Okay, you think it's going to be something in the global economy?
Mm, I think it's a part of our life now.
This is true.
We can't live without that type of things.
Absolutely. For example, the pants that you're wearing, the pants or the shoes that you have,
Yeah.
have you ever thought about how many countries are involved in creating the dye and then the belt and the laces? And there's a thing called a global assembly line where the laces may be produced in one country, the shoes may be produced in
Yes.
another, and then the dye for the pants may be produced in another, and then it all gets put together in another country. It's called a global supply chain. And then the company that owns those shoes and those jeans might even be in another part of the world, and they're making a lot of money from that. In other words, there's a global economy at work in the clothes that you wear. So it is. Global economy is really important.
Yes.
Okay, great, Shivana. Thanks. Okay, let's keep going. All right, and just hand the microphone and give your name. Okay.
My name is Jordan. So global economy, I think I'm going to veer us away from that and towards technology.
Exactly.
I think the next big thing right now, and it's actually already kind of going through trials in the FDA, is Neuralink. If you don't know, it's a brain chip, a company made by Elon Musk.
Yes.
Sorry.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Um,
I never said he wasn't smart. He's just insufferable when he opens his mouth.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
fully, especially on
Yeah,
Twitter.
go ahead.
But anyway, so yeah, it's a brain chip, and they're currently testing it with their first human patient. And the goal for the current testing is that I think they're trying to solve scoliosis and conditions like that. So I think that's going to start to be the next big thing where we're going to start to really tinker with how we can use technology to fix healthcare, more permanent conditions, brain chips, and AI as well, using AI with brain chips, and really starting to delve.
I'm going to
into all
relieve
those
you,
things.
Parsa, and say, Jordan, could you go over and write some of these things?
Yeah.
about
Do you want me
the-
to hand the microphone over to?
What's that?
Do you want me to hand the microphone over whilst I
Just,
write that
just
down?
give it over to Parsa can come back and take the microphone. Actually, no. Let me. You keep the microphone and keep talking while you're writing. Okay.
Okay.
Let's get this moving. Okay. So this is good. Thank you, Parsa. So Jordan has a lot to teach us right now, and let's just go over there. Okay. So Jordan, could you just write down some of the critical things? Just a few critical words
Sure.
about the next big thing.
Let's see. Brain chips. So
Technology.
sorry in advance for my handwriting. It's so bad.
Okay, let's if it's a problem, we can bring Parsa back.
Brain chips.
Okay. This would be okay, write down technology. I'll come and help you, okay? For a second. And let's see. 'Cause I get energy doing this. Excellent. Excellent. You can rub it out that way. That's nice. Tech and then nice. Are you okay standing here doing? Do you want me to do it? This is excellent, okay? Now we're on it. Technology. So what was that thing you said called Neuralink?
Neuralink. Yeah.
Can you write that?
I'll put it next to brain chips.
Okay. Brain chips. That's right. This is not Miss Vicky's chips. No, no. I'm giving away my personal taste right now. Damn, Miss Vicky's. My wife and I really can't get enough of Miss Vicky's. Bloody chips. Brain chips. Neuralink. Okay, so Jordan, can you explain a little bit more to everybody? And the camera, by the way, over there is the one that goes online. That one there, so you can talk to that camera. You can talk to us. So you're talking to everybody in the class. Okay. What exactly is a brain chip?
So I'm not educated the best on it, but the best way that I could explain it to you guys online and to the classroom, think of like those sci-fi movies like I don't know, iRobot or like basically any kind of sci-fi futuristic movie like that, where people like put like technology in their bodies, like I don't know, cyberware
Yep.
or like a technological prosthetic. That's kind of like what a brain chip is. It's kind of like a little chip. Think of like a like a CPU. Like the CPU is the brain of the computer. Think of it kind of like
chip.
that way. A chip.
Silicon chip.
Yeah.
Silicon chip. And you're saying that this chip could be implanted in the human brain.
Exactly. Yeah.
And the company that Elon Musk or the initiative is called Neuralink.
Yeah.
Right? Neural. Let me show you how smart I am. Okay. I'm going to write this down myself. I'm pulling this out of my head. No, you tell me. Okay. So we have Neural.
Yeah.
Neural, and then another L.
I don't know if it's another L. I might have spelt it wrong,
Neuralink.
but yeah.
Okay. Great. Okay. Thanks very much. You want to hand it to back to Parsa, okay? Keep it going, and Parsa will keep doing the notes. Thanks, Jordan. Okay. Grayson and Prerna, are you ready for a world where you could go to your chip installer, maybe your doctor, and say, could you arrange for some brain surgery so I could put a chip into my brain to improve my memory and maybe start deleting all those bad memories? And no way, hey, Grayson. Okay. Well, we'll see. Elon Musk gets things done, right? Okay, thanks, Jordan. That's so for now so far we've got global economy that we're thinking of. We still haven't defined what that thing might be, but something in the global economy. We have the idea of, well, a question mark, not sure. And now we're into technology. And even more specifically, we're into a particular thing called a microchip that is put into the human brain for whatever reasons. Wow. Great. Okay, let's see online if we have anything here. Not yet. Okay, let's keep going. So microphone, where's that other microphone? There's two. Parsa's got one, and then who's got the other? Jalen, could you give? Yes. Good. Please just give your name and make sure it's on, and then go ahead.
Yes, my name is Cici.
Is
Cici.
City.
Cici.
How do you spell it?
CICI.
Cici.
Yes.
Cici. Lovely.
Cici.
Go ahead, Cici.
I think the next big things maybe is the environment impact.
Say that again. Which?
Environmental impact.
Oh, excellent. Yeah. Now, it's already happening to some extent, right? But something really big is going to happen in environmental impact.
Yes.
Good answer.
Yes, I think maybe the climate change leads to the various environmental problems. Yes.
Environmental calamity.
Yeah.
It's a great word. CALAMITY. That is like a massive disaster. Environmental. Excellent, TC.
Yeah, and including the ratings to see the levels and more than attendance and the welfare.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes,
Good.
and the more than required.
Yep. Yep.
Yes,
Way to
and
go.
required the humanities and the cycles.
Yes.
Yes.
Human and psychology or
Um.
human.
Let me think.
It's okay.
The
Take
human
a few
and
moments to think. We like thinking.
the circle is
How do you spell that?
let me check.
Yeah.
the word.
Okay. Check and
No.
give the microphone to Brandon, okay? And we'll come back to you, okay? Take the time to check. We will come back to you, okay? Not to worry. All right. So CC, I just want to make a note. CC still has to let us know. Noted. Okay, Brandon, where's it coming from?
What I think is gonna be the next big thing is that I think we're not gonna know. Like no one's gonna be right. The point is because every single time when someone think it is or is not, it completely switches. Like for example, like a good example was remember a week ago when we were watching that YouTube video
Yes.
saying that they were trying to solve a solution about the poop.
Yes, the horse manure crisis.
No idea what to do, and now the car's next biggest thing. Or
Exactly.
the internet, like how everyone thought it was gonna be a fad, and now it's everything we use. Or people thought the iPhone was just kind of be like a little gimmick.
Sure. It's a good
So
answer.
I think the point is, and like a good example as well is like around 2013-14 when VR was starting to be a new thing. People thought the next generation of games were going to use VR, and so far it's just basically the same. So like New York could be it, but it could probably be a massive flop, or maybe environmental could be a possibility. So like the point is, there's such mass thing.
Yeah.
It could be just a random German developer that is making something right now, and he doesn't even know it's gonna be the next big thing.
Absolutely.
And it could probably just be a small thing. It probably won't be big immediately when it makes it. Probably be 10 years later. Like the fidget spinner. The fidget spinner was like around like 1990, and then soon got immediately popular and became the next big thing around 2016.
However, if we take Paul Sappho at his word and look at his 6 rules, and we bring the cone of uncertainty around it, there is a way to kind of identify trends. Perhaps we can't say for certain where it's going to be coming from, but we can kind of identify in general where we think it might be coming from based on what's been happening and based on how we prepare that cone of uncertainty. But it's a very good answer, and Parsa's got it already where he says random impact. It's going to happen, but that's kind of unnerving, isn't it? To think that something's going to be happening and we won't know until it happened. But in a way, Brandon has a very good point, because many people were talking about the coming pandemic, including Bill Gates, important global spokesperson, if you will, who was the founder of Microsoft and has become a philanthropist as well. And he had been speaking out quite widely through the early part of the 20th century about how infectious disease would be the next big thing that humanity would have to deal with. And he was not listened to that much until it happened. So we should write something in terms of random impact. I think we should add a subnote to that and say, we really won't know until it happens. Prerna? Yeah, let's go. Let's try, because it's a very smart observation that Brandon said, because it's based on a lot of truth in history that things have happened and we didn't know. We weren't quite prepared. But we do have techniques, Brandon, in some of the research that people like Paul Safo are doing in helping us to be better prepared. Okay? But do you want to give the microphone to Prerna? Yeah. Make sure you can tell Parsa, okay? Go ahead and take the microphone and just let Parsa know what to write.
Yeah, I think he got it.
Yeah, he has it? Okay, good. Banny is contributing now in the live chat. Way to go, Banny. Let's make sure we pay attention here for a moment. Banny is saying, other than technology, I believe that rising rates in housing, taxes, mortgage, grocery is also a big matter of concern. That's all global economy. Because, Banny, all that you're saying about mortgages, housing, grocery, all of this is connected to global supply chains. The food that we eat often comes from elsewhere. Housing prices have to do with also global economic conditions, real estate companies that are owned by people in other parts of the world, and they're setting the rates of those houses in our country. A lot of what happens in our lives today is connected to companies that are elsewhere. Not always, but very often. So that's, Banny, I'm going to say that's a global economy force, okay? Let's keep going. Jalen, let's hear what you have to say.
For some reason, I think the next big thing, like years to come, would probably be flying cars.
Ooh. So this is technology, and let's put flying cars. Now, as soon as we hear flying cars, at least I, as an older person, think that's way off in the future. Too far. What would make you think, Jalen, that that's coming sooner than we might think?
Because I remember from a couple of years ago in high school, a classmate was talking about flying cars, and she said that we almost have them. So that, but they never came.
Let's imagine this for a moment. I can give you one small piece of personal observation that actually makes some sense. About 4 years ago, I was at the airport in, I think it was Hong Kong with my wife. She's from Hong Kong. It might have been when we stopped in San Francisco on our way to Hong Kong. I can't remember which airport. And there was a big picture of a car. But the car was off the ground. In fact, the car seemed to be floating. It had no wheels. And it was just an ad that I saw in an airport. It felt like it was coming. It was much sooner. And I said to Waj, I said, wow, that's cool, you know? Is that what it's going to look like when cars start to get off the ground? And I didn't look into it anymore at that point, Jalen, but there was a picture of it there, and that made me think that there's some technology that is moving in that direction. And so you may not be so far off. I can't add anything more to that in terms of my knowledge, but we can talk about a trend here. What is a trend behind the idea of a flying car that makes us think that it may be happening potentially in our lifetimes. In other words, a car that moves through the air and flies. It's not on wheels anymore. Or it's a car that has wheels, but you can actually lift the wheels up or bring them into the car so the car becomes slightly airborne and then starts to move faster. What's the force behind that? The human force that makes us think that this is really possible. This is called a trend. There's a trend happening underneath this. It's the underlying sort of force that is making this thing happen. Well, how about clean energy? Is it possible that a car that doesn't have wheels would need an alternate source of energy that would be cleaner than fossil fuels? Even deeper than this. Remember the word Excelsior? Based on what we've done so far this semester and just your general understanding of the human being, don't we seem like we really want to fly, get off the earth, move faster, and get into the air? That we want to go beyond this earth. What do you think? Do you think that's true?
Yeah, I really.
We
I
want to go
think-
beyond always. We want to get lifted up and moved and do something in the sky. It's something to think about, but it's the idea that the human being is always restlessly looking up instead of down and thinking, how can we get up there and go further there? It's a very powerful force. So that may be what lifts us up and starts allowing these vehicles, although it could be very dangerous if vehicles are now moving through, but we'll have to figure that out. Okay, Jalen, thanks. Flying cars. Let's keep going. Want to hand the microphone to the next, and we'll get a few more, and then we're going to start concluding. We have about 20 minutes left. Go ahead. Give your name first.
My name is Madiha.
Mer-
Madiha.
Madiha? Okay, so what do you think? And if it's a problem, you can just hand the microphone to Prerna. But give it a try. What's coming? It can be anything. But something's going to change in our lives because change happens a lot these days.
I think maybe just like technology taking over in general. Like,
Technology taking over more?
yeah, with like jobs and stuff especially.
Ah, okay. So robotics?
Yeah.
Robotics replacing humans, assembling things? Has anyone ever seen a video or a picture of an Amazon warehouse? How many people did you see in that? Or did you just see machines? Yeah. So let's put robotics down. Robotics. Okay, thank you. That's good. That's enough for now. Let's go to prayer now. Okay, I want to make sure everybody has a chance, including online, and then we're going to have a little vote, and we're going to discuss this, and then we're going to conclude. Okay, but we want to end the class today with this idea of what do we think is the next big thing, and we also have one final thing to look at, which is the moon. We've got to come back to the moon. Remember, okay? So, Prerna.
I kind of have two thoughts. One is on a more individual level, like in people's lives. It's kind of a trend. I don't know if many people believe or practice it, but It's called manifestation and mindfulness.
Manifestation mindfulness. Okay, go.
I think people are being more aware about it now, ever since like they started pandemic happened, they had more time to look into themselves. So I mean,
Ah,
personally, I was introduced to manifestation concept then.
excellent.
And other thing is the opposite of this, because you put on the world there, and the first thing I see is tension between the worlds. So I think there's a war that's pending.
There's a war.
So I'm kind of going both ways.
Third World War, nuclear war in which hydrogen thermonuclear weapons will be used and not atomic, which was what was used in the end of the Second World War. Thermonuclear is hydrogen. How many of you have seen Oppenheimer? In Oppenheimer, it's the character, the physicist, who wanted to develop the hydrogen bomb. And Oppenheimer didn't want him to focus on that, but then he eventually said you could. The hydrogen bomb is far more devastating than war.
Yeah, what I see like in the near future, I hope not,
Yeah.
but is a Cold War. Like if I speak in my context, the news that I'm following, there is quite a bit of tension between Canada and India. If you guys are following the news, so
Yes.
that's kind of a worry.
Okay. Let's come back for a moment to something a little more positive, okay? Just because I think it's important that we always have hope for human beings, because there's a lot to hope for. Prerna, you just mentioned meditation or
Mindfulness.
Mindfulness. You meant mindfulness. Let me try and help all of you understand what might be the underlying force in the human story today that would make mindfulness something that will become more and more common, that could become a very big thing, in which more and more people all over the world are practicing mindfulness. What's that? When I talk about force, I'm talking about the reason. What would be the reason why this would become a big thing? I'm going to help you with this. This is important. And Prerna's onto something. Why would humans here in Oshawa, in Lima, Peru, let's say, in Tokyo, Japan, Johannesburg, South Africa, wherever you want to go, Riyadh in Saudi Arabia, Mumbai in India, or Islamabad in Pakistan. Why would humans in all of these places start to get interested in mindfulness more and more? Why? This is important. This is a trend. This is a trend. Parsa?
To become like more like peaceful, I guess, and like more open.
Nice. More and why would humans want to be more at peace?
Me? Oh, so less wars go on and no more like crimes and stuff like that.
Is it possible that we're seeing a lot of mental health issues today?
Yeah.
Is it possible that we're seeing an explosion of anxiety and stress? Is it possible that since the pandemic, where many people were sick or worried about becoming sick, humans all over the world started to think more about wellness and healing? These are trends. Stress, infectious disease affecting so many people, confusion, but maybe I'll leave that for the moment. There is an underlying current in the human story right now that everywhere is felt in this world, and that is everybody is dealing in one way or another with the dilemmas of confusion around this world we're living in now that is extremely complex, very connected, with machines becoming more and more a part of our lives. And this causes a lot of disruption, turbulence, and stress. Okay, so I'm just trying to give you a little bit of context for some of the choices that you make. And then we're going to make a little choice in a moment. We're going to vote on what we think so far. All this is an introduction to the idea of what the next big thing would be. I'm going to post a brief recorded lecture for you that I gave on this to give a little more context for homework that will help you as well when you do your reflection. Your second reflection is going to be about today's class. Just remember, okay? So I will post that on DC Connect. Okay, we still have a little bit more time. That's great, Prerna. We'll come to Grayson, and then we'll come to Nico. I just want to say Nick because it's easy, but Nico, right? Yeah, okay. We've got Grayson and Nico to do, and then we'll leave online till later. So, Prerna, thank you. Do you want to hand the mic to Grayson?
Well, a lot of the stuff that I had thought about has already been put up on the board. So I thought about like robots with the jobs and stuff. War happening with nuclear weapons was another thing, and potentially like housing and stuff with it getting so out of hand, and how wages aren't really good enough for minimum to actually live a sustainable life. So
sustainable life. That's a nice way.
So
Grayson?
and the climate change as well was another big thing, because it's happening now, and like all the impacts that it has on the world and such, that it's coming as well. So
You have to choose among the ones that you just mentioned, okay? Which one would you choose and say this is the most likely thing that's coming?
I would probably say the advances with technology, with like the robots and stuff getting there, and like what is it? The advances in just like how technology is with everyone, like the movie, like how the movie Ready Player One was kind of something like that, maybe.
What's the movie?
Ready Player One.
I know the name. I just haven't seen the movie.
Yeah.
What's the kind of important thing we should be aware of that movie talks about?
Basically, the whole movie takes place in a virtual world, pretty much. Like you put on like the headset of some kind, and you're basically in a world. You're basically playing. Your life is a video game, kind
So
of.
virtual reality.
Yeah.
And didn't Mark Zuckerberg, formerly the creator of Facebook, rename his company Meta for that very reason? Because Meta is what he is doing research, putting a lot of money into creating a completely virtual world that you can live in. Let's put virtual reality there, Parsa. Thanks, Grayson. That's good. Okay. Okay, Nico, finally, and then we're going to review this, and then we're going to revisit the moon, and then we're going to conclude the class. Okay. What do you think?
Okay. Well, I've been thinking a lot lately. Some of my thoughts are already on the board, like about World War III, especially. Like, I think India is going to help Russia against us in the war. But I've also been thinking about technology. Like, I think 30 years' time, we're going to discover all the oceans.
We're going to discover?
Yes. Stuff that we haven't yet.
Oh, so it's going to be in marine kind of science, marine science, where we're going to learn because we know so little about what's in our oceans.
Yeah, I think like 30 years' time, we'll discover most of the ocean, maybe 40.
And okay, let's say we do something really important comes out of marine exploration. How would that change our lives?
Possibly more resources for humans now.
Ooh. Nice lateral thinking here. Nice creative thinking. That marine science discovery, new resource for humanity.
I also have a slight feeling that we might fight over the moon.
We might fight over the moon. Well, we'll leave that out for now. Yeah. We won't get too dark.
And second pandemic might start again.
The second, yeah, that's very. But by by the way, there were scientists who just won for physics, which was electrons, the Nobel Prize. There was also scientists who won for chemistry, and they were the ones who actually discovered how to create the cellular discoveries that they made gave us the vaccines. So, in other words, the vaccines that we used to stop the pandemic from continuing came from the chemistry that these two scientists had discovered, and they just won a Nobel Prize for it. So, we may not have another pandemic quite like we did because we will have new vaccines, better vaccines. But, okay. We'll leave marine. We're going to put the marine as a new resource up there, and we'll leave that for now. And I'd like to stop, okay, and do a little vote. And then we're going to finish up with whether everybody still, by the end of today's class, does not want to go visit the moon or even spend some time on the moon. Let's see by the end of the class. But first, is everything on the one slide there, Parsa, or is there anything else behind this slide? I can't remember. Yeah, we're going to come back to that at the end. Okay, thanks. All right. So I'm going to ask each of you to think for a moment, okay? Just give it about a minute, and as well as online. And I am going to ask each of you in a moment, actually collectively, to all vote. And I'm going to go through each of the items. And I'm going to ask for you to clap. And the loudest clap will be the winning item. And you only can clap once, meaning you can only clap for one thing. So I will say, for example, robotics. And if you think it's going to come from robotics, clap. Okay? And for those of you online clapping, and we can't hear you, could you put a clapping icon up, I think, and we will know, and that way we will get our vote. And then we will finish up, okay? So we have several items, and we want to figure out what you think, and then we're going to understand at the end a little bit more about that particular item. So let's go through this. First, think for about 30 more seconds about what's been discussed. Global economy, neurotechnology that would produce a brain chip that can be implanted into the brain that is already being worked on by Elon Musk, who is the, of course, developer of the Tesla hybrid cars, electric cars, with SpaceX and his space exploration. And the insufferable part of him is that he bought Twitter and has changed it into X, and is speaking a lot about that. So now he owns big social media platform, but he's invested quite a bit in Neuralink. So he's thinking seriously about this. Will it come from some kind of environmental impact? Cece, there was something we just want to follow up that you said that I missed. Is there anything you want to add at this point? Just want to make sure you've said what you needed to. CY? Cyclones. Yeah. Nice, big cyclones. Yeah, like hurricanes. We've been seeing a lot of extreme weather, flooding. We've seen wildfires. Maybe there's a big cyclone coming. But it's still environmental impact. We'll leave it at environmental impact. Excellent. Calamity, environment. We don't know. Whatever it is going to be, as Brandon has said, it's going to happen, and we're going to have to deal with it because we can't really say what it's going to be. And we often have been proven wrong in the past, and we often can't see things coming until they come. Well, I hope to help you with that in this class with people like Paul Sappho that we can see things coming a bit more clearly. If we understand trends, flying cars, robotics, virtual reality, mindfulness, greater mindfulness, marine science, and Grayson, virtual reality. Yeah. Okay, are you ready to vote? Do you think you know? You have only one thing that you can say. You think it's going to come from that, or it's that thing, and then we'll explore that a little bit more when we choose it, and then we're going to conclude on the moon. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to read these out loud with Parsa's help. Do you have a microphone? Okay, so Parsa will read the list out, okay? So first choice. Parsa, what is the first choice?
So global economy. I was gonna do that.
One clap from You've used up your clap, Parsa. You can't clap again, so I have a feeling it's not going to be global economy, Parsa.
Sure.
Okay.
And then cyclones.
Cyclones or environmental impact? Nope. And online, Huda, Bani, Anikat, I'm not seeing anything digitally there. So next choice, Parsa?
Brain chips.
Brain chips. Brandon, I see Jordan, I see Tessa. That's 3. And they've used up, let's see if there's anything online. Nothing. So right now, brain chips is ahead. Elon Musk would like that. That's disturbing. You can't take it back. Okay, so 3 right now, but there's still many more students. So I have a feeling that brain chips is going to get bumped. It's going to be elbowed aside. What's the next one, Parsa?
Neuralink.
Well, Neuralink would be the brain chip.
Actually, yeah.
Yeah, okay, so keep going.
Environmental impact.
Environmental impact. Some kind of environmental calamity, some devastating cyclone, or maybe it just will be more and more wildfires and floods and mudslides, and what about a tsunami? Another tsunami that hits Thailand or Japan, or nope, non-environmental impact. CC, sorry. Okay, keep going, Parsa. Oh, wait a minute. We have a clap. We have claps, digital claps. Huda, can you clarify what you clapped for? Because I didn't see that coming. Could you just write in the live chat what you brain chips? Okay, so that's 4 now. Anikat, what did you vote for? Could you write that in the live chat? Same with Bani. Huda, brain chips. Aniket. Oh, environment for Bani. Brain chip. Okay. Oh, so there's another brain chip. So I think we've got about 5 for brain chips, if my math is correct. Okay. Parsa, could you keep going?
Marine science.
Marine science? Well, I'm going to vote for it. And here's why. I think it's clever, but also I kind of like James Cameron. Do any of you know who James Cameron is? James Cameron is the Canadian director who directed Avatar and Titanic. James Cameron is a huge marine filmmaker. Some of you may know why he got so interested in the Titanic. Do you know where James Cameron is from? Well, every time I go visit my mother in her home, independent home where she lives just outside of Niagara Falls, I go to a town called Chippewa. It's very near Niagara Falls. Niagara Falls, seven great Niagara Falls, little town. You can hear the falls from there and imagine the influence this had on James Cameron, where he grew up. There's a little plaque for James Cameron right there, and I always drive by. James Cameron comes from Chippewa before he became famous. So I'm going to throw my 2 cents in with marine science and James Cameron. He's going to help us see something in the marine world, but I'm only a very, very lone single voice right now. Let's keep going, Parsa, and see.
Random impacts. Like you won't know.
We won't know. Random impact, we won't know. It'll just happen. Nope. Fine. Keep going.
Flying cars.
Nope.
Manifestation.
Mindfulness. Prerna? Nobody else? Oh, I'm shocked. I thought there was going to be more for that. So keep going.
Robotics.
Robotics. One? Have you? No, so not yet. No, not yet. Robotics. 1, 2. And the online group has used up there's 3 of them, I think, and they've all voted. So we're getting down to the wire here, and it's looking more and more like some of you want to go work for Elon Musk. Parsa, who's next?
Virtual reality.
Jalen? No. And anything else?
And Third World War.
No. Sorry, gentlemen. So here is what we have at the end of today's class before we finally go back to the moon. Can you bring that slide back of the moon? You have voted. You think as a class, the majority, if you will, have said that you think the next big thing is going to come from this idea of neural technology, of a chip, potentially, or something else, but a chip that could be implanted in a brain, and it will come likely from Neuralink that Elon Musk is the founder of. Please think about that when you reflect on today's class and what you felt was really important and what you think might be the next big thing. And if you do your reflection on this and you choose this Neuralink as what you felt was the most important part of the class, you will have a choice to decide what you felt stood out for you in today's class. Please think of the consequences of what this would mean for humanity, good and bad, if we were able to implant a chip in our brains. What would it provide us that would make us better as humans? Please think about that. Finally, let's revisit this question. We've ended the class. We've looked at this idea of the next big thing and humans and their quest for more and more changes that will improve our lives or change our lives. How many of you have changed your minds after today's class about this, that you would like to go and spend some time on the moon? Is there anyone who's changed their minds? Are there any of you who are even more certain that you definitely don't want to go to the moon, that you're even more certain about your position since the beginning of the class? Brandon? Okay. Brandon, could you just explain to us in 1 minute, and then we're going to finish up? Why are you more certain? Make sure Brandon has a microphone, please, because I have a feeling we're going to get an interesting insight here into something that you may want to reflect on.
Probably not this time.
Go ahead.
The main reason is definitely because of the internet. Definitely in the future, even if possibly we live in Mars.
Yes.
The idea is that people were saying, I remember seeing this Tumblr post. Someone, I think I reposted somewhere. It was talking about if you lived on the moon, it would estimate to take like 10 minutes of delay or like 10 to 15 minutes of delay of the internet. And I'm like, oh my God, that'd be horrible. I would not do that. You'll have to play on the Mars servers. And if you actually go to like
That would be worse.
Earth's North America, it'll be horrible. And I can't talk to anyone. The closest thing I have to do is text message and wait 30 minutes if they actually saw the message yet.
Wow. So it makes a lot of sense. So there's no way that you would want to live on the moon because you would really be alone.
Unless in that future they have internet specifically only in the Mars area and you can't.
Right.
So like, yeah.
In other words, you want to connect with people, right, Brandon? Yeah. Jeez, humans like humans. We don't like really being alone too long, do we? Okay. Thank you, Brandon. I had a feeling that you were going to take us to interesting place. And okay, I'm going to conclude on that. And, I will post the instructions for the second reflection for you very shortly, but you've been told what they are. It will be, you have to reflect on today's class. What stood out for you? In the first reflection, you reflected on 3 classes. Now you're reflecting on just 1. Okay. If you have any questions, you can come talk to me. Otherwise, I'll see you next week. Okay. Thank you. Thank you online for your votes, Anikat and Bani and Huda, and it is Elon Musk and Neuralink. That's where it's coming. Get ready. Okay. Excuse me. Let me make sure I save this. Got it. Okay, see you, Prerna. And